Good morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Friday, March 7th. It's Jobs Friday. We wrap up a wild ride of a first week of trading in March following a sell-off on Wall Street yesterday. During regular trading, the Dow gave up 427 points, or about 1%. The S&P 500 sank 104 points, or about 1.75%. The Nasdaq slid 483 points, or 2.6%. Bill, let's get into Friday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. Watching the S&Ps, we're up 0.05%. It's kind of flat. And the reason why it's flat is because you get that big non-farms payroll report coming out this morning. Now, that's kind of a real key one that the markets will be focusing on because unemployment is, a key barometer of the health of the economy. So we'll have to wait and see. That could really be a catalyst this morning. You know what else is going to be a catalyst? President Trump, he's holding a crypto summit today at the White House. And he's, last night he signed off on the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Kind of find that interesting. There could be something there. This afternoon, around noon, I see that Powell's going to be speaking. I don't think we're going to get anything new from him. I mean, last time he spoke, he talked about, the recent dot plot about the 2 rate cuts this year, and I think he'll kind of continue on. But I don't think we're going to have a rate cut at this upcoming meeting. That's for sure. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he was speaking this morning, and he said, "Hey, President Trump wants fair trade with China, and we're a long way off." Yeah, that's true. But the tariff news, it continues to dominate the market sentiment. I mean, the markets are reacting negatively to all this uncertainty surrounding and around the tariff process because it's been highly chaotic. I mean, one day you have put the tariffs on, a day or two later you lift them. I mean, you keep doing that ping pong effect, and the market doesn't like ping pong effects, and that's why we're seeing a lot of concern because the tariffs are inflationary, and the tariffs do create a weakening of the economy. So, if you keep pushing forward on the tariffs, you're weakening the economy. On the earnings front, we had some positive earnings releases last night. AVGO, Broadcom, Gap stores and Guidewire, they're all trading higher this morning after their releases. And next week, we got a number of good releases coming out. We got ORCL, we got Cold Stores, we had Thick Sporting Goods, CASY Stores, Adobe, and Ultra Beauty. They're all set to release next week. Today, markets are cautious ahead of that non-farms payroll report. Got to stay nimble. Remember, you got to keep those economic trends, in focus, and the economy is slowing. And I am concerned about next month's earnings announcements. But is there going to be a big rally today because we fell off yesterday? I don't feel it. I mean, what I see is red, and I don't really like that on the screen. So someone's got to flip and start showing green for me to feel that way. And maybe it will be Powell's speech. Maybe it'll be something with the non-farm payroll report. We'll just kind of have to wait and see for a good catalyst. Okay, let's take a look at Europe. We're looking at the DAX. The DAX is pulling back. Remember, it had a big run this week, but this morning it's down 440 points. That's 1.88%. Almost all sectors are trading in the red. Retailers and banks and auto stocks are really leading the declines. The FTSE, on the other hand, that's also trading lower by 40 points. That's 0.47%. They had that housing price index in the UK. It rose 2.9% year over year in February. It's still a little below estimates, though. And then the CAC in Paris down 93 points, or 1.14%. I mean, the sentiment in Europe right now is falling during the, uncertainties around the U.S. tariffs, and most stocks were in the red in Paris. And what's leading the leg lower? Luxury stocks. Luxury stocks are weak. And then we'll turn our attention over to Asia for a second. In Asia, we saw a lot of red. We saw the Nikkei fall 817 points. That's 2.17%. Ooh, that's nasty. Equities are facing pressure from a stronger yen and rising government bond yields, Japanese government bond yields. Hong Kong fell 0.57%. That's 138 points. they're cautious out of the upcoming economic data out of China. You saw weakness in property, financial, and tech stocks. In the Chinese market, the Shanghai market fell 0.25%. China's January to February exports weakened significantly after a strong fourth quarter print that's kind of weighing on. They got more economic data coming out this weekend, so we got to keep an eye on China's economic data. Then we're turning our attention to oil. Oil's up 1.5% this morning. We got WTI at $67.37 a barrel. We got Brent at $70.51 a barrel. Now, oil remains on track for a significant weekly loss, mainly due to the fluctuating U.S., trade policies and, the OPEC's, planned production hikes. And, that's really keeping a lid on, on oil being able to move higher. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update, Emily.
Bill, you mentioned in there that you were trying to stay nimble as we're navigating these rocky waters when it comes to the markets, swaying back and forth between big wins and big losses. And you're staying nimble by keeping track of facts, information, data. It's a way to keep your sea legs underneath you while everyone else is feeling rocky. And you're using your NewsWare to do that, to gather things like those earnings releases that you mentioned, economic events, not to mention that non-farms payroll. Again, you'll be seeing that as soon as it hits the tape, and still other types of corporate headlines. We will get through all of the details throughout today's show, starting with earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of what is going on there.
We're going to start off with Costco, ticker COST, Charlie, Oscar, Sam, Tom. Listen, they missed by 9 cents, but it was done on higher revenue, but that stock's down 1.92%, and it's probably got some legs to move a little lower as well. Then there's Broadcom, ticker AVGO, Apple, Victor, Grace, Oscar. They beat by 9 cents on higher revenue. If you look at Broadcom, it's up 9.30% this morning. Then we got Gap Stores, ticker GAP, Grace, Apple, Paul. They beat by 16 cents. They did it on higher revenue. Stocks up 16.17% this morning. So yeah, some good earnings and some misses. It's okay. Then upcoming, there's nothing after the bell. Nothing really exciting me on Monday morning. But Monday afternoon, you got Vail Mountain Resorts. That's ticker MTN. Michael, Tom, Nancy. EPS is $6.29. That's high, but they took such a hit during COVID, but now it looks like they it is coming back, and the expected move here is 8.43% when they release. And then also after the bell on Monday, the big one, Oracle, ticker ORCL, their EPS is $1.48, and the expected move is 10.37% when they release, Emily.
And Bill, you're keeping track of those earnings reports. And just a real quick note here, AVGO was your pick of the day yesterday. Seeing a nice little run. We will do a check-in on that before we get to the end of the show today and sign off for the weekend. Now we're going to get to the day's economic events. Again, the jobs report really looms over markets today. Everybody anticipating what that might look like. A little bit of cautiousness in the air given the other reports that came out throughout the week and last week. So you will see that as you hit the tape. Along with that, a couple of other important things to note. So Bill, give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
Listen, the big one, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, 1 hour before the opening bell, we get the Non-Farms Payroll report. Now, estimates are looking for the report to come in at plus 160K for February. Now, the January report came in at plus 143K. Unemployment expected to hold at 4%. The recent Dodge-related job cuts are unlikely to impact these payroll numbers. The jobs report reflects a mid-month snapshot of the economy, and many of those layoffs really occurred later. John Williams of the New York Fed. 10:15, we're going to be hearing from Fed Governor Michelle Baumann. At 12:20, we're going to hear from Fed Governor Adriana Kugler. At 12:30, Jerome Powell, Fed chairman, and then Adriana Kugler is also going to be speaking at 1 p.m. For 2 speeches in a single day, Emily.
And I did mention before and pointed out that you will see that non-farm payroll data as soon as it hits the tape with your economic alerts. You'll also see all that Fed speak, any of that commentary that could be market moving, you will see as it comes out. You also see all sorts of other types of news and information, data, facts, figures that come out using your NewsWare alerts. You follow things like merger news, guidance news, buyback news, shareholders meetings. You also group your stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Just doing a quick data check. I mean, I got 18 lower, I got 10 higher on the Dow and 2 unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks, seeing a little positive activity in Google. Everything else is trading lower. I'm looking for some news behind the tape, like Amazon. You know, this is interesting to me because Amazon's Amazon backs Anthropic. And they're going to provide AI policy suggestions to the White House next week. That could be something there. Google is trading higher this morning, as I mentioned, but apparently the House Judiciary Committee, they subpoenaed Google's CEO, and they're looking for communication that the company had with Biden, with the Biden administration, in an effort to, find out that Google was censoring free speech. Don't these guys got better things to do? Really? Seriously? Meta platforms, they're building up and improving their voice capabilities of Meta's AI. That's good news. Good to see. In terms of Dow Jones 30, Apple is expected to start mass producing a foldable iPhone in the fourth quarter of next year. Johnson & Johnson, they stopped, working on a late-stage program for depression therapy drug, I see. In terms of merger news, Land's End, ticker LE, Larry Edward, they initiated a process to explore strategic alternatives. Now, if you remember about a week or so ago, I talked about this, and it really came from Eddie Lambert. And, Eddie's a good guy, and he basically, said, listen, I'm encouraging this. He's also the largest shareholder. So, yeah, he wants them to initiate exploring, an opportunity to sell the company. And, here it is a couple weeks later, and they're doing it. Land's End looking to sell. Walgreens Boots Alliance, ticker WBA, they confirmed that $24 billion deal to take themselves private with Sycamore Partners. Wow, WBA, William Boy Apple. In terms of guidance news, Gap, ticker GAP, Grace Apple Paul, Q1 revenue flat to slightly higher. Street estimates $3.44 billion. Guidewire, GWRE, Grace William Richard Edward, Guidewire sees Q3 revenue coming in $283 million to $289 million. Now, the street estimate's 279, so that's a nice uptick there. Cooper Companies, ticker COO, Charlie Oscar, they narrowed their full year 2025 EPS view. They really just lifted it on the downside, on the low end. They were, their now view is $3.94 to $4.02. It was $3.92 to $4.02, so that's a 2 cents higher on the low end. Street estimate has it at $3.98. It's kind of in the middle, so yeah, that's not bad. In terms of buyback news, the big one out there really is Cinemark Holdings, CNK, Charlie Nancy Kilo. Their board approved a share repurchasing program of up to $200 million. And then I saw a report on Kroger. They're commencing their $5 billion accelerated share repurchasing program. Well, this was kind of announced in December. I remember, talking about it in December. So it's not really new news. It's just like a regurgitation of something they've already said. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, all week you've been sort of navigating these choppy waters, as we've mentioned, continuing to look for opportunities day in and day out, no matter which way the market was going. So you're going to do it again on this Friday to end out the week. So Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
Yeah, it's been a volatile week, but we've been doing good on the picks. We've been making money on the picks. So, that's the positive flow because we're looking for opportunities that, that will, cause these stocks to move. Today, I'm looking at CoinDesk, ticker COIN, Charlie, Oscar, India, Nancy. Here's the thing. Trump's having a crypto summit, and I think that's going to create an environment for positive news flow from that summit today. And last night, he made that change where he's creating a reserve for Bitcoin. So yeah, I could see CoinDesk moving higher. Let's take a look at yesterday's call volume: 111,626 versus 45,671. That's 2 to 1. You're looking at the open interest, 750,000 versus 473,000. Both are positive. Like to see it. And then this morning, I read a report talking about changes to the S&P 500 and, some of the stocks that could be added, which one of the names was CoinDesk, COIN. Remember, the S&P 500, it doesn't have any cryptocurrency. And I want a 214 price, entry price, 214, CoinDesk, Emily.
214 it is for CoinDesk. And, you're following that sort of news cycle and anticipating where there might be opportunity. So we will follow that along with you today. And coming up, we will do that recap on yesterday's pick of the day before we sign off. So stick with us through the end of the show. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Trump says cabinet should lead on agency cuts, not Musk. Okay. Obama judge indefinitely blocks Trump's administration's funding freeze. Said White House puts itself above Congress. Wayfair, ticker W, they're doing some cutbacks. Atlanta Fed boss sticks out there saying the rate pause could hold until the summer. There's a news report out there saying that Trump sent a letter to Iran's Khomeini on Thursday. Interesting. I wonder what that's about. Yeah, Target's a little weak this morning. There's a protest going on saying don't shop at Target because they roll back their DEI initiatives. I look at that as an opportunity. Target's weak, and then they got and then they'll be able to come back. U.S. floats joining Israel to strike Hamas. That's not good. Albertsons, ticker ACI, being added to the S&P 400 on Tuesday morning. Keep an eye on that. Alibaba, ticker BABA, they launched an AI model that's supposedly on par with DeepSeek. Trump's FDA nominee yesterday was asking questions about the vaccines and the abortion pill, and he didn't give any clear answers. He essentially avoided the questions. That's all I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Friday and sign off for the weekend, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day. I pointed it out earlier in the show was Broadcom, ticker AVGO. A couple of price target raises on the stock this morning, and as you told us, they did report earnings after the bell. Yesterday, they've reported a Q1 EPS of $1.60. That was better than analyst estimates of $1.51. Revenue for the quarter came in at $14.92 billion versus the consensus of $14.62 billion. They also see a Q2 2025 revenue of $14.9 billion, and that's versus the consensus of $14.73 billion. So positive on that front as well. There is some positive momentum in the stock this morning. It was up even more after that report. But Bill, dive in. How did your call work out?
Stellar. Worked out stellar. I mean, made the 1% yesterday during the trading day, but the stock opened up at 181.04 and it fell down to 177.61. Now, I was saying, 180.50, 180.50. So it definitely breached that 180.50 because, but after hitting that low, it ran all the way up to 186. And then after earnings, you look at the stock this morning, it's trading, 200. I mean, I saw last night a $214 print. So, yeah, AVGO, Broadcom, Apple, Victor, Grace, Oscar was a big winner yesterday, Emily. Big winner.
Solid win with that one, Bill. And we will check in with you on Monday about today's CoinDesk pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here Monday and each weekday morning next week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.